Welcome to Chasing Circa Millions, a season-long journey swimming with the Sharks for a shot at a piece of $6 million. Each week of the NFL season, Dave and Matt will break down the schedule and come up with 5 picks against the spread to enter into the Circa Millions contest. Let's see what the guys come up with this week.
Here we go. Welcome to Chasing Circa Millions, where Matt and Dave make their 5 picks each week to enter into Circa Millions, going for a piece of that $6 million prize that they're offering this year with Circa. Matt, here's last week. The big news was the top 5 consensus picks for the Circa Million all failed to cover, and 9 out of the 10 most popular picks also failed to cover. Our results were 2 and 3, not bad considering what the consensus did. Our 2 winners were easily with Jacksonville, by half a point with Arizona, kind of a bad beat with Seattle, the game they probably should have won. A loss definitely with Detroit, who played terribly, and a really bad beat with Baltimore. So kind of a 2 and 3 week. Could have been worse. Not that bad, I guess. The current standings at Circa Million, there were 49 entries that were 5-0, 433 entries that were 4-1, 1,372 entries 3-2, and then from there, 2,080 entries just like us, and then down to 328 people who didn't get any rights. We're kind of in the middle of the pack, but considering we could have easily been 4-1, we could have easily been 3-2, but we're 2 and 3. So that's where we stand. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that Ravens beat was tough. I remember I kind of turned the game off when it was like 34-19 or whatever. They were up by 15. And I woke up and I was really sad to see the Bills had somehow pulled off that game. Seahawks, I agree. I think they had a chance. Obviously, Detroit never comes close. Arizona was giving us a scare, but they came through, and Jags, no doubt. So we're on to week 2. We learned from week 1, and hopefully we can go 5-0 this week. That's the goal every week.
Yep, that's the goal for sure. It would be nice. I'd like to at least get back to 500 would be good and go from there. But week 2 looks like it's a really difficult week. So we'll see how it goes from here. So let's hop right into it. The Thursday night game, you've got Washington at Green Bay. Looks like it's pretty much 3.5 across the board at the various sports books. Just wanted to let people know we are doing this on Wednesday night. The actual Circa odds come out on Thursday morning, but due to some scheduling, we have to do Wednesday night. So we'll go with the odds that they have up here now and try to talk through that. So last week, Washington, a pretty convincing win against a very lackluster offense in the Giants. Green Bay just laid a beat down on Detroit. We were looking at a better performance from Detroit, but didn't get it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with what you were mentioning. I mean, Washington went in there and took care of business and beat a bad team. I think that's kind of what I was expecting from them. Green Bay obviously really handled Detroit. I thought that was probably more on Detroit than it was on Green Bay. I think we discussed, about this game. We're a little bit on opposite sides. I like Washington, you like Green Bay, so probably won't include this one, but I'm showing a little bit of value with Washington. I think they should be closer to 1.5 on this game.
Yeah, I agree that they did play well, against the New York Giants, so take that for what it's worth. We don't really know, was that an okay.
Anomaly?
Yeah, that with Detroit, not prepared, not ready to go game 1, little trouble with the new coordinators, hard to say. Green Bay looked very good in that game. I really liked the way that they came out, and I think home field is going to be good for them. This game did open up at 1.5 for Green Bay. It's gone to 3.5, so money coming Green Bay's way. We're just going to agree to disagree on this one, I guess. So on to our team, the New England Patriots, dropped a game versus Seattle. Seattle played a very good game.
Raiders.
New England lost to the Raiders. My fault. The Raiders played a good game. Geno Smith, really, really good game. Second highest amount of yards passing on the week was Geno Smith, which shows the New England pass defense is probably not that great. And the New England offense really got nothing going. On the other side of the board, you've got Miami, which was probably the worst loss of week 1. They went into Indianapolis and completely stunk up the joint. look terrible. They have problems on defense. They've got problems with Tyreek Hill. They've got injuries. This game opened up 2.5 in favor of Miami. It's come back down to 1.5 for Miami on their side. I think one of the things we talked about is to try and stay away from bad teams. And Miami might be a bad team looking that way. And I don't have a lot of confidence in taking New England on the road in this spot.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, obviously Miami looked terrible, and I wasn't too impressed with our Patriots either, unfortunately. I would expect this to probably be a pretty high scoring game because neither defense looked very good. Really, it's going to depend what kind of pressure the Patriots can get on Tua because I don't know what happened, but he looked really bad, and I was expecting more from them. So, yeah, I mean, I think Miami kind of fell into that second scenario that we talked about in our preseason where they could be really, really bad. Now Miami isn't really a great place to play, especially for a cold weather up north team like New England. So, I think if I was going to have to take, a game, a pick here, I'd probably take New England just because I think Miami could be falling off a cliff and New England has I think a coaching advantage. I think Vrabel's probably better than McDaniel at this point. But probably wouldn't touch this game. It wasn't one of my even top 7 favorites, so that's for me. But I'd lean New England if I had to choose.
Yeah, I agree. And weather could be a factor in that game, too. They've been getting a lot of rain down in South Florida. A mucked up field. I'm not sure who that gives the advantage to. But I would expect a better performance out of Miami. If they don't win this game, Mike McDaniel, he's got to be gone in the next week or two. And for New England, if they don't win this game, getting off to an 0-2 start's going to really hurt their chances for a playoff spot. So these division games are important. Okay, let's hop down to another one that we might like, and that is Jacksonville at Cincinnati, if you want to kick that one off.
Yeah, Jacksonville, obviously, I think they were impressive, played well in week 1. Granted, it was the Panthers, but they did about everything that I was expecting of them. Their defense was actually probably a little bit better than I expected. Granted, it was the Panthers, who are missing a few of their key wide receiver targets, but they ran the ball really well, played good on defense. Trevor Lawrence looked like he was maybe back to like a 2022 Trevor Lawrence level. Now, I don't want to be too soon on that, but I thought he looked good. Cincinnati really disappointing. I mean, their defense looked like anyone could score on them. I mean, that's what happens when you pay 4 guys your entire cap space. You have bums all around the rest of the roster, and Joe Burrow didn't look like he was ready. I don't know if that was just the Cleveland defense that was a little bit better than I expected, but it seems like another typical slow start for Cincinnati, even though they did win last week by the skin of their teeth. I think Jacksonville looks like some decent enough value here, 3.5. It's come down a little bit from where it opened, but I still think laying it with Jacksonville here is probably the right side. I make it about a pick. So I'd be interested to hear what you think about these two teams because Cincinnati really disappointed me in the first week.
Yeah, Cincinnati's one of those teams you keep on waiting, right? When's that offense going to explode, right? And you don't want to be on the wrong side of them when it does, for sure. But they looked very marginal opening week against the Browns. That was a game that they had such a bad record the first couple of games of the last few seasons that they really needed to win that game, and they just barely squeaked it out against a Cleveland team that's predicted to get 4 or 5 wins at the most. So although they, were away from home, still not a very impressive effort. Jacksonville, I told you last week that I'm drinking the Trevor Lawrence Kool-Aid again until he does me wrong. I'm not over the moon with Jacksonville yet, but they look very good in their opening game. Granted, against Carolina, you're correct. And we don't know how good or bad Carolina is going to be. But I think for me, it would be Jacksonville or nothing here, especially with the hook of 3.5 on this one. Okay, let's see if I can actually get this to move up there. Look at that. Look at me go. Okay, some good talk there. Speaking of Cleveland, very surprising effort by them. They have to go to Baltimore, who they've got to be a little angry this week. 4 minutes to go in that game. They had a 99% chance of winning, and they found a way to lose it. And a lot of people talking this week, and well said by them, that, Baltimore seems to be a great regular season team. I need to see them do something in the playoffs. They seem to find a way to lose big games. Some way or another, fumbles, interceptions, special teams play, something ends up doing them in. Jim Harbaugh has, not Jim Harbaugh, his brother, has
John Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh has sort of a bad record with blowing leads in games. That's concerning as well. With that being said, I don't want any part of this game. 11 and a half, 12 points, something like that. I could see Cleveland sticking with them, making it close. I can see Baltimore being pissed off and winning this game 28-10, 35-10, something like that. I can see both ways. Cleveland might be better than we think they are. But early in the season like this, you play a lot of that might game. It's like, Jacksonville. They might be good this year, but, for 3-4 weeks from now, we might say, oh, same old Jacksonville, right? So with Cleveland, all bets are off for me on that one.
Yeah, I really didn't know which way to go this game. I guess if I had to choose, I'd probably lay it with the Ravens. I gotta imagine they come out with something lit under their butts, for this game. I mean, they just blew a 15-point lead with 4 minutes to go, like you said. Pretty embarrassing loss. I mean, they had that multiple ways they could have won that game. Henry fumble, some maybe questionable coaching decisions. Cleveland looked good, obviously, against the Bengals, but Bengals I'm much less confident about than I am the Ravens. I mean, this wouldn't be a game I'd probably include, especially when you could possibly lay 11 and a half points on a division underdog. That seems pretty attractive, but there's no way I could be betting on Cleveland at 11 and a half when I know the Ravens could just come out here and put up 40 on them again. I'll
Yeah,
just pass on this one. I mean, I could see the Ravens damn near putting up 50 on them. I mean, it depends on how motivated they are out the gates, but they're 0-1. They need to win this game. So I think the
they
focus is here.
yeah, I mean, they put 40 on Buffalo, right? And
Yeah,
Buffalo is certainly a superior to Cleveland, right? So
right.
yeah, they could really kick some butt here. Okay, let's hop down to my favorite play of the week. This is the Giants against Dallas. Giants starting Russell Wilson again. Were able to muster 6 points, 2 field goals, trips to the red zone, no good. Offense terrible, defense not so bad. Pretty good defense, but when you can't score any points, you can't score any points. It's hard to stay in games. Dallas put up a pretty good fight surprisingly good fight against Philadelphia. They had a ton of, almost 100 yards of lost passing because of drop balls. They don't have a great run game, but I think their pass game is very effective. They're coming home. This is a game that they, if they have playoff hopes, they've got to dominate a team like this. I have full faith in Dallas this week. I'm not a great Dallas fan for the season long, but in this particular spot, I really like them a lot.
Yeah, I don't mind Dallas here. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be laying anything that's south of 10 points when you have Russell Wilson as your quarterback. So that's just kind of how I feel about the Giants this year. I thought their defense was fine. I didn't think they really got put in the most advantageous spots. And um, yeah, I'm still waiting to see on them. I didn't have this one on one of my favorites because I'm still trying to understand what I'm getting from both the Giants and Dallas on the defensive side of the ball. I feel like I saw from Dallas what I'm going to see on the offensive side, which is that their passing attack is going to be pretty good with Dak, and their run game is actually surprisingly good as well. So I'd like to see that continue if we're going to bet on them. Um, it's hard laying 6 with a divisional underdog, obviously. We'll see where the final line comes. If this was 5.5, I'd be a lot more interested. 6, I'm a little bit more skeptical, but I agree with what you said about this game for the most part.
Okay, let's hop down to another one I really like. Is the Rams playing at Tennessee? Tennessee stayed in the game against Denver. They managed to cover that game, Cam Ward's first game, but they were a beneficiary of 4 turnovers by Denver. they generated no offense whatsoever. The only points they got were basically because they got those turnovers and got the ball in good field position. And on the other hand, the Rams look like they were in midseason form. They just came out kicking butt. Puka Nakua, Matt Stafford, good running game, looked all around really good. Defense played very well. I think that the Rams are probably looking like, if they can keep Stafford upright, they're looking at a pretty good season ahead of them. Again, that's, a lot depends on Stafford's health, but I don't think they're going to mess around. If this was, week 9 or 10 and it was in between two division games or something where there was a look ahead, I'd maybe be hesitant, but not in week 2 when they still got their focus going. The start of the season, they want to get off to a good start. They're well coached. I think they're going to probably make Cam Ward's life hell in this game, and I don't mind laying the 5.5 on the road.
Yeah, I saw everything I needed to see from the Rams last week. Looked like a great defense, held Houston to what was it, 6 points. I make this 9.5. I think the Rams are going to clean house here. I probably see them winning, 28-7 type deal. Tennessee, just a quick comment on them. I thought they played better than I expected, and maybe that was just because Bo Nix played so terrible. So I'm still hopeful for them, just not in this game because like you said, it looks like the Rams are right in midseason form, and I don't think they're looking away from this game. This wouldn't be one they'd want to lose in a silly fashion. So I expect them to go in there and clean house with Tennessee and win by at least 10. So that's my favorite play of the week, Rams -5.5.
I like it. Good. I think we can put that on the board. Okay. What are your thoughts on this game? Buffalo coming off that big win over the Ravens. Jets looked a lot better than the Jets were supposed to look. Pretty good week. Justin Fields looked pretty good. Not a great defense, but that was to be expected. But their offense seemed to be okay. What do you think about this spot?
Yeah, I think I let you know about this one. I think if I had to lean up play here, I'd go Jets. It looks like a little bit of a letdown spot for the Bills coming off that massive win against the Ravens. You're getting a home divisional underdog, which I feel good about. 6.5, not bad. Maybe we could flash a 7.5. The Jets offense looked pretty potent. I think the Bills defense, obviously, Baltimore put up 40 on them, so it's still pretty vulnerable. I think this is just going to be a shootout, honestly. So I like getting 6.5 when we're in a little bit of a shootout. I think we have a better chance of a backdoor cover. Obviously, I don't think the Jets are going to win this game by any means, but I certainly think they have a chance to cover this in a few different ways. I liked what I saw from the Jets offense. Don't love what I saw from the defense, but I'm not betting on the defense here. I'm just betting that the offense can score enough to keep it within margin with the Bills, which I think they can.
Yeah, and I think my only problem with this game is, and we'll get to this when we talk about Indianapolis in a little while and Daniel Jones, but that was not the Justin Fields that we're used to seeing. And I don't know if he reverts back to the Justin Fields of old. Buffalo will hand it to them. If he continues to take care of the ball and play smart, yeah, they can be in this game and give Buffalo a good run for their money. Probably Buffalo's might be taking them lightly, but again, early in the season, this is another example. I'd say, if we were looking at this game in the middle of the season, week 8, 9, 10, I'd really like the Jets a lot because this might be a look ahead spot or whatever. But right now, Buffalo probably still has their focus. They put up a lot of points, but I'm with you though. If it was anything, it would be the Jets getting the points at home.
And I'd say quick comment on Justin Fields. I mean, I think Justin Fields actually, when I thought about it more, I think this is looking more like Pittsburgh Justin Fields than it is like Chicago Justin Fields. I mean, I don't think he played half bad when he was in the first, 7 games or whatever it was with Pittsburgh. I mean, they were like what, 10 or 9-3, 8-3, right? I mean,
yeah,
what were they, 10-3 before they lost like 6 in a row, or 5 in a row? I mean, they were good with Justin Fields last year.
I mean, maybe he's become, a game manager, which is what he needs to be, right? And run when he has the chance and not turn the ball over. So, yeah, I'd say the Jets are a maybe. I think this is a game that we're probably going to disagree on. Chicago, Detroit, very, very tough loss for Chicago. Caleb Williams being Caleb Williams, inaccurate, end of the game, can't make the throws. Detroit, super disappointing, terribly disappointing, but I don't believe that's the Detroit team that we're going to see going forward. This is a team that won, 15 games last year. They're a good team. On paper, they're a much better team than Chicago. They've got to have a bad taste in their mouth from that butt whooping they took up in Green Bay. I'm believing that they take it out on the Bears here and they get back to the Detroit we all know and love.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit skeptical on Detroit right now. I think a stat I did see, which supports what you're saying, is the Lions are, I think, 10-0 in the Jared Goff area after a loss, ATS maybe some sort of stat along those lines where they were really good against the spread after a loss. Maybe it's over the last 2 years, but I don't know. I didn't love what I saw from their O line. I thought their run attack looked terrible. Defense, they couldn't get any stops. Does Chicago have that same offense that Green Bay has? No. Do I like Caleb Williams? No. But when I'm uncertain about both teams, I'm just going to take the points. And I think the Bears defense looked formidable enough. The Bears would have won that or could have had a chance to win that game. And I think maybe, if not for just JJ McCarthy going off on them, could have won that game, right? Maybe 1-0. I don't know. I think since we're kind of in disagreement, we just have to punt this game. And I think both of these teams, right? We need a little bit more time to figure out what was real and what wasn't from the week one.
Right. I agree. Yeah, I think we'll know a lot more about these teams by for sure week 3, right? Which direction they're going. This is also a game with them both 0-1. Neither team can really afford to lose, right? It's going to really hurt their playoff chances.
Right.
Even this early in the year, right? Okay, Seattle and Pittsburgh, we got kind of a tough beat in Seattle. They had that game playing well within the abilities to win that game against San Francisco. Sam Darnold's first game there, not bad. I think San Francisco's offense was really strong that day. McCaffrey went off, Purdy went off. So maybe that tells you something about the Seattle defense, but I don't think it was a really bad game for them. You don't see them lose at home a lot. So they played well. Pittsburgh, I think there's a little too much love too early, too soon for Aaron Rodgers. He threw 4 touchdown passes, but a lot of his yardage was yards after catch. He was playing the dink and dunk game. His receivers got away from the tacklers, went in, got a lot of yards. So, a good win for Pittsburgh to go into the Jets. And then, like we say, the Jets played a good game against them for sure. This is another game like the Chicago-Detroit game. I'm not really interested in this game for a couple of weeks, right? I'd like to see is Seattle, how's Darnold going to fit in? Is their defense going to improve a little bit? And I think Pittsburgh's maybe a little overrated off that first, it was the Jets off that first game with Aaron Rodgers. Sure, they look good, but I'd like to see a little more.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Rodgers looked good. He impressed me. Pittsburgh's defense did not look good. I was very surprised by that. I mean, they allowed a lot of points to Justin Fields. I don't know if that was just the Jets looking good, but it looked like they were very vulnerable on the ground. And that seems kind of like what Seattle wants to do, right? They want to run the ball. They want to control the game on the ground. They want to play good defense. It's kind of like both these teams want to play almost exactly the same way, right? So if I was going to lean any way, I'd take the points with a run control type game. But Sam Darnold on the road outside, meh. I'll have to pass until I get more information. I'd take the points if you had a gun to my head, but not really one of my favorite games of the week.
Yeah, I don't know what the total is on this game, but it's got to be fairly low, I would think, right?
Yeah. It should be low. It should be. I make it 42, but yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking more like 38. So yeah, low scoring. Next up, we got San Francisco and New Orleans. Initially, I was loving San Francisco. Now Purdy, is he out or is he questionable? I'm not sure what his status is.
I think it's unlikely he'll play with a toe injury, and their backup is Mac Jones.
Ooh, yikes! As Patriots fans, we don't like to hear that name. Um, yeah, no Kittle for 4 weeks.
No Jawan
Um,
Jennings.
yep, really banged up. McCaffrey might be able to win this game just on his own. If they just keep, if he's healthy and they just keep pounding the ball to him, um, he could potentially win this game on his own. New Orleans, surprisingly, not bad the first week. Lost as expected, but only by 7 to our Arizona Cardinals, who were laying 6.5. So pretty good performance. Spencer Rattler threw the ball like a ridiculous amount of times, right? I mean, all their receivers were, leading the league in targets, right? I mean, just ridiculous how much he was throwing the ball, which I thought was kind of a surprise that they'd do that with him. But yeah, New Orleans played a very good opening game. San Francisco with all these injuries, I don't know. Is this game going to be 3 or 3.5? I mean, it's both here on the board, right? So, um, 3.5, I'd lean New Orleans. 3, maybe not so much. I know we're trying to stay away from those even numbered games as well. So that would be a question as to what the spread comes up as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else to say on what you commented. I mean, I think honestly though, like I know San Francisco's really injured. Like if this popped at a 2.5, I like would almost have to auto play San Francisco just because I don't think the Saints I don't think the Saints are gonna beat somebody. Like I don't think the Saints are gonna win more than one game this year, more than one or two games. Like they played about as best as they probably could against Arizona, and they still lost by 7, right? I don't know. If this was 2.5, I'd be highly tempted with Mac Jones. I mean, Mac Jones won them or covered them some games last year. Like you still got Ricky Pearsall, you still got Christian McCaffrey. The defense is still fine enough. I mean, if it's anything under, over 2.5, uh, that San Francisco would have to lay. Like I'm not taking either team, but you know, I'll keep watching New Orleans. It's going to be hard to evaluate them after this game with all San Francisco's injuries, but if they put up a good fight, I could maybe upgrade them a little bit. But yeah, not much else comment on that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point on your part. I mean, who is New Orleans going to beat? I don't think they're going to beat San Francisco, even as banged up as they are, right? So the question is, does San Francisco win by a field goal at the end?
I mean, roster as is, I had this at market. Roster as is, I had this at market -7 for San Francisco.
Right. And you
Well, if
can,
I think if I looked and tossed in Mac Jones, took out Kittle and Pearsall, I'd probably be closer to 3. So if it was 2.5, I think it'd be worth it. But 3.5, probably not.
yeah, I think at 2.5 or 3 even, you've got to take San Francisco. They're even with their injuries, they're a better team, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I guess we're gonna have to wait and see what the line is that comes out on that. So definite
I
maybe
mean, I'm
on that.
still with you on San Francisco. It's just I'm number dependent. I'm number dependent.
Right. No, I can agree with that.
At 4.5, even I was kind of uncertain because I didn't know what was going on with Brock Purdy. But now that we know he's probably out, and I know I'm getting Mac Jones, I need 2.5 to bet them, not 4.5.
Right. Agreed.
So just my
So
thoughts.
we'll wait and see. I put them
Right.
down as a question mark.
Sure.
I'll let you have a go at this next one, Carolina and Arizona.
Yeah, I have Carolina as the second worst team in the NFL right now. um, they look terrible in their week 1. I mean, Bryce Young didn't look like he looked like he was early 2024 Bryce Young. Looked terrible. Defense has tons of holes. I don't know what's going on there. Um, I'm pretty tempted here with Arizona at -6.5. I think they look good enough. I put Carolina in the same league as the Saints were, and I obviously what Carolina was away for that game, right? That was in New Orleans. Coming home, Carolina going from this would be their second road game. I believe they were in Jacksonville, so this is their second road game in a row. Not really good spot for Carolina. I think they look terrible. Arizona, I think a little bit disappointing on offense, but could certainly light up this Carolina defense. Arizona, actually not bad on defense. I was really impressed, especially from Will Johnson. So this was another one like that I kind of liked the more I thought about it. Kind of in the same area as the Rams. -6.5. I'm willing to, excuse me, to lay some juice with them. As long as I'm getting 6.5, I wouldn't go above that.
Yep, I am 100% in agreement with you on this game. Um, Arizona's defense, bend but not break, right? They gave up all those yards to the Saints, but not that many points, right? Excuse me. Um, so I think they played very well. I think coming home is going to help them a lot, and they have an explosive offense, right? And the other thing I think uh, was game day that Kyler Murray all of a sudden came up on the report as
Injury report. He had an illness, right? He said
with
he
an
had
illness, right? So
Yeah.
he certainly wasn't at 100%. Let's say we don't know that, but for them to put him on the injury report the day of the game, he had to be not feeling well for sure. But yeah, I think with the weapons that they have, um, I think are probably comparable or above that of Jacksonville. So I think laying 6.5 shouldn't be a problem for them here coming home their
And I
first home
think,
game.
just to add in another point, I mean, they're 1-0, Rams are 1-0, San Francisco's 1-0, Seattle's 0-1. They're going to want to stay on this game because the division is going to be tight, right? Like they're 2-0,
Right.
they don't want to drop a game, in this division race. So I don't think it's going to be a spot that they're going to overlook by any means. So
Right.
this
Yeah.
is probably my second favorite play of the week.
And I hate to keep saying this over and over again, but later in the season, this is maybe a trap game. Week 2, I don't think so. I don't think they're going to be overlooking Carolina. I think they're looking to fix some of the warts they had week 1 against New Orleans and really get going here against a bad Carolina team.
Yeah, and I just note, one more thing is that I have Jacksonville and Arizona rated nearly identical. So 6.5, both at home, feels pretty fair. So
Yep. Agreed. Okay. Um, let's argue over this next one. Um, I don't think you liked when I mentioned earlier in the week how much I was loving Denver. But I think this is the tale of two opposites in week 1, right? Denver, they were big favorites. They didn't get the cover against Tennessee at home. They had 4 turnovers, which I don't think is Bo Nix like. I think he played terrible. I will admit that. Bo Nix played terrible last week. But do I think he is terrible? No. On the other hand, Daniel Jones, he was like Joe Montana last week. He was amazing, right? Played a great game. Got to hand it to him. Threw the ball to Pittman. Really good running game. Played enough defense to get the win. Yeah, okay. We think that Miami's one of the worst teams in the league off of week 1. That was a terrible Miami performance. Awful. So I'm thinking Indianapolis is getting a lot of love for beating a bad Miami team. Denver getting some hate because they had 4 turnovers. How many games in a year are they going to have 4 turnovers? Probably only 1, and that may have been it. So I think, they're probably preaching ball control, keep the interceptions and turnovers down. And, if you look at these two teams, I think it's just Denver's defense is really good. I think they're going to bring our poor boy Danny Dimes back to, they're now calling him Indiana Dan or something like that. But anyway, that's just my feeling. I know you do not agree with that, right?
So here's my 2 cents on this game. Indianapolis went out there and they took care of business against what I perceive to be is a really bad team. They had the kind of performance that I was expecting from Denver on week 1. If you would have told me, hey, Indianapolis beats Miami 20-12, I'm like, okay, good win. Like, probably keep both teams about the same. You tell me Denver beats Tennessee 33-8. I would have been okay, maybe a little bit upgrade to Denver. Probably not much because I kind of expected them to do that. It's just kind of reminding me of like, a little bit of college football, right? Georgia They're playing all these FCS teams, right? They're going out and playing Marshall when you're 30-point favorites. When you don't win by 30, it's a little bit suspect, right? I just don't know what to think about Denver after seeing that horrible of a performance. Now, I think the defense was amazing, and I think when Daniel Jones goes against this defense, it's going to be really bad. He's going to revert to the Daniel Jones that we know. I'm just so concerned about that Denver offense that I saw. I mean, that Tennessee defense is not that good. I mean, they're projected by us, by the market, to be one of the worst teams in the league, one of the top 3, top 4 worst teams. And they only put up 20 on them at home, in altitude, in a rookie's first game. Like, what are we doing? I just have to stay away from it because my feelings on Denver were so strong to start the year that I'm trying to determine if I need to reevaluate those feelings or if that was a complete one-off. So that was my thought. I can't bet this game. I completely agree and hear with what you're saying, but I, I'm
I'm
having an
with you.
existential crisis with Denver.
I'm with you. Enough said. We'll see. Wait and see. Wait and see.
Wait and see. Wait and see.
Speaking of games I wouldn't want any part of, here's Philadelphia and Kansas City. Philadelphia, they took care of the Cowboys. Okay. Good game. Played well. Cowboys are the Cowboys, especially Philadelphia at home, raising the banner. Big game for them. Kansas City looked dreadful, especially their defense against what might be a really good Chargers team. Hard to say. Again, we've only seen them 1 week. But I'm not ready to bet on Kansas City, but I'm not ready to lay points on the road with Philadelphia either. Kansas City is still Kansas City. They, believe it or not, were in the Super Bowl last year against this team. So to go against Kansas City getting points at home, I'd have a hard time doing that. I think this is just going to be a good game to watch.
Straight pass for me, completely agree. Patrick Mahomes usually as a dog is awesome. Philadelphia, I believe Jalen Carter is suspended for this game, but
No,
he is
they
not suspended for this game.
no, they considered the game he got kicked out as his suspension, and he is back for this game.
Really?
Yes, they gave him that game.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, they gave him a 1-game suspension, but he didn't play in that game, basically.
He got thrown out.
Yeah, he's back. Yep.
All right, that makes no sense from the NFL, but whatever. That's
Right.
fine. Just fine him. That's not really a true suspension. Sorry, I saw the headline. I read it wrong, I guess. My bad. But well, if he's back, maybe that changes my mind a little bit. But Kansas City, I mean, God, they're not. Who do they have left on offense? Their wide receiver one's Hollywood Brown. Travis Kelce, he's washed. He's a bum. Philadelphia wasn't that impressed week 1, but I already took a stand against Pat Mahomes as a dog in the Super Bowl and won big on the Eagles. I don't think I want to, and that was a neutral site game, so that's a little bit different. I don't think I want to go against Pat Mahomes as a dog in Arrowhead. That doesn't sound like a bet I want to make, so I'll pass completely.
Yep, I agree.
This will be the only game of the week where I have literally no opinion.
No, me neither. I can't wait to watch it. I hope it's on here. Great game to watch. I have no idea what the outcome's going to be.
Great game to watch. I hope the Chiefs lose again. That would make me really happy.
Could be a myriad of different outcomes in this game. Okay, so we come down to Atlanta and Minnesota. Atlanta played a good game.
A little bit.
Atlanta played a great game. They should have won that game against Tampa Bay. They had the ball more. They had way more yards. Everything in the box score, if you read it and weren't provided the score, you would have said Atlanta won that game. They looked really good, but they got Baker Mayfield, and we'll talk about him next. But I think they're much improved. Atlanta. I think they're maybe a fringe playoff team, mostly because they play in that crappy division. But they look pretty good, I thought, in week 1. Tampa Bay's, they're a good team with a good defense, and Atlanta played well. They, their kicker lost the game for them. So that's that. Minnesota, okay, J.J. McCarthy, he's a Superman. He brought them back with all those points in the fourth quarter to come back and beat the Bears. We should have had Minnesota last week, I guess, right? But anyway, Minnesota may be a little overrated off that performance, especially on national TV. Maybe Atlanta a little under the radar. I don't know. It's hard to pick against Minnesota at home. They play so well there, and I think they probably have one of the top one or two coaches in the league in Minnesota. Um, so they've got that on their side. I'm if you had to put a gun to my head, I'd probably take that 3.5 just because of the hook and hope that Atlanta plays as well as they did last week. But I hate saying hope, right? Because I'd rather be convinced than hope. What do you think?
Yeah, the only thing I'm concerned about with Atlanta is maybe a potential Drake London injury. I think, if he wasn't going, that'd be a major problem for me and would really scare me if I was laying points with them. Atlanta looked good, like you said, in the box score. And the advanced stats, they looked really good too. I mean, the advanced stats were telling me they should have really won that game. And they should have won that game. And I think if they did win that game, this would be at minimum 2.5, maybe 1.5. I mean, this could easily be Atlanta pick'em because if Minnesota loses that game against Chicago, Atlanta wins their game. Both I saw were about 50-50s. This could be Atlanta pick'em, right? I don't think these teams are that far apart in my estimation. So I like the value that you were getting with Atlanta, especially at 4.5. At 3.5, I'm a little less interested, but I'm monitoring that Drake London injury. I'm not fully convinced. It was just hard finding other games that I really was in love with throughout
Yeah,
this slate.
last I heard today, London was in. Um, he practiced today, so I think he's going to be in. I don't, again, we'll have to talk about this at the end. Not one of my favorite games. I've just got the wait and see thing on both JJ McCarthy and Penix. How good are they really? Um, they look really good right now, but let's revisit it in week 3. Okay. I was just talking about the great Baker Mayfield. He just does stuff to win. He's just like stupid great when needed, right?
He makes
Pulls
the throws when they need him to make the
pulls
throws. I'll
rabbits
say
out of his
that.
hat. Yeah, he can look like crap for 3 quarters, and then something happens and a light comes on, and he starts firing the ball around, and he won't let his team lose. Um, he is a heck of a competitor. Um, Very impressed with the way they were able to win that game. Like we say, Atlanta beat the crap out of them in the box score, but Tampa Bay beat them where it counts on the scoreboard, right? So, very good performance on their part. Houston, boy, they ran into a buzzsaw. The LA Rams came in. Houston, they have a great defense. I mean, they I hate to say they held the Rams, but they played pretty well against the Rams from a score point, but they were just not able to do anything against that Ram defense, which is no surprise either, right? So um, I think I'd put Tampa Bay as a rung or so below the Rams as far as a power rating. But again, Houston, it's kind of a must win for them, right? If they want to get their season going, they probably can't. 0-2 is not going to be a good start for them. But for me, I'm on the Baker Mayfield bandwagon, so I'd have to take the points in this, especially if for some reason it went up to 3. I'd be probably even more on it, but 2.5 looks pretty good to me as well.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. 2.5 looks very interesting. I think Tampa Bay, I think they have a chance to win this game outright. And Houston's defense looked great. Bay's defense looked fine. Their offense was struggling until they weren't. Houston's offense struggled terribly. I see it as kind of a low-scoring game to me, and when you have a low-scoring game like this, I want to get the points. Tampa Bay, I know we've been talking a lot about team focus. This is a team, I mean, I think both teams are going to be focused here. Obviously, Houston's already lost a game. They're you don't want to go 0-2, especially in the AFC South. I mean, especially with how easy that division should be. But, Baker, think is probably a better quarterback than CJ. I'd like to get points with a better quarterback. It's minus 120, so it looks like it's trending back maybe towards 2 rather than 3. But we'll see. If it's 3.5, it'd be obviously an auto play on Tampa Bay. But 2.5, I'm still interested.
Yep, I agree. for sure. And the final game on the slate, I'll let you kick this one off. The Chargers, very impressive. Las Vegas, very impressive. What do you think?
Yeah, Chargers one of the most impressive wins of the week. Looks like the market's shading their way a little bit here. Not surprised by that. Herbert looked like a top 5 quarterback in the league. I mean, he looked amazing. Like best game I've seen from Herbert probably ever. No joke. He looked awesome. Their wide receivers seemed to learn how to catch the ball again, which was good to see. Running game, defense looked good. Chiefs a little bit depleted on offense, so not that impressed. Another team that had a great game, the Raiders. I mean, I thought they looked awesome. You're outdoors, you're at New England, tough environment, I think, for the most part. And Gino played really, really well. Now you're going at home. Brock Bowers maybe a little bit banged up, but defense looked pretty decent, albeit it was against the Patriots. And offense looked like it was ready to go. The thing that concerns me a little bit was I read some advanced stats about Genty, and they were not that good. Uh, it seemed like they weren't getting much push from the offensive line in the run game, which was a little bit concerning, especially from, the Chargers' perspective. It seems like they're going to want to kind of control the pace of the game, and you think that Vegas would maybe want to do a little bit of that themselves. I don't really know. From home field type, I think neither of these teams really have any sort of home field advantage, but it is a home underdog, so I don't mind that. I would imagine that the Raiders fans will be out in full force. I mean, they're 1-0, and the Chiefs are 0-1. So both these teams have a chance for the division. I'd be probably at 3.5. I'd be Raiders. At 2.5, I'd be Chargers. Love to hear what you have to say about this one.
Yeah, it's tough. Another one of those games I could even see Las Vegas winning 24-21, and I could see the Chargers winning 35-10. If the Chargers
Right.
if the Chargers are that team that played Kansas City last week, they're going
Then 3.5 is not even close to enough.
Yeah, they're going to kill.
3.5. It should
They're
be
going to kill the
6.5.
Raiders. Yeah, they're going to kill the Raiders.
Right.
If you're going to power rank Kansas City and the Raiders, Kansas City's a much better team. So, the Chargers stuck it to the Chiefs. That makes me skeptical. I agree 3.5 is kind of tempting, but boy, if that Chargers team is firing like they were against Kansas City, they're well coached. They've got running game and passing game and defense.
Problem is, Chargers could see this as an opportunity. Kansas City could be 0-2 and Chargers could be 2-0.
Right. Definitely.
That goes a long way.
Yeah. They're going to win that Kansas City game.
By a lot.
2 games up. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Over Kansas City. So yeah, if the Chargers, if somehow Las Vegas wins this game, that whole division's in disarray, right? For sure.
Right.
But yeah, I could see the Chargers. I'm like you. At 2.5, I'd be all over them. At 3.5, I'm kind of a maybe on Vegas, maybe, but not convinced.
Yep. Okay. On the same page.
Okay.
It seems like the only 2 games we're really on the same page are the Rams, really on the ready to put those in the slips now, are the Rams and the Cardinals.
Rams and Cardinals. I think I may have convinced you, but I think we both kind of thought the Cowboys weren't a bad choice. And I think we may have, depending on the line, we may have talked ourselves into a possible San Francisco play.
Yeah. And on the horizon, Jacksonville, it didn't seem like you were too opposed to Jacksonville, 3.5.
No, not opposed to Jacksonville. Not opposed to Jacksonville. Let me just take a quick look at, we both like the Rams. I had Dallas, Denver, Rams as my top 3.
My top 3 were Rams, Cardinals, Jacksonville, followed by Falcons, Tampa, Jets, Bears, kind of all in that same grouping.
Yeah.
I'm just checking to see where the money's coming in on these. Dallas is another thing that makes me a little bit confident on Jacksonville. Is it looks like I'm seeing a lot of money coming in, on Cincinnati, and it's reversing against them.
Yeah, I'm
Jets or Buffalo's getting money, it's reversing against them.
yeah, I think I'd like if you compare like Jacksonville, Cincinnati to Seattle, Pittsburgh, you're getting the hook with Jacksonville. I think those are basically the same games, right? I kind of like Seattle, but not at 3, probably 3.5.
Right.
I prefer Jacksonville at 3.5, not 3. So yeah, I'd put a tentative down for Jacksonville, and I think we probably looking at the rest of these games, I think our best hope is maybe with all the injuries and that, maybe San Francisco goes to 2.5.
Yeah.
We can see what comes up on that for sure. But other than that, I don't see anything. Maybe Tampa Bay. I think we were both kind of.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to see where it lands between LA, Tampa Bay, Arizona, Jacksonville, Los Angeles would probably be the top 3 I'd be interested in, and Dallas probably in there as well, top 4, and then see where the line lands between, San Francisco, Atlanta, Tampa, and Vegas.
Yeah,
would be my thoughts.
Agree. So we're going to disappoint all our fans out there, and maybe we'll only have currently 3, I think 2 picks, the Rams and Arizona. I think we've probably got some pretty strong maybes on Dallas, Jacksonville, and some possibilities for some others when the lines
Official
come out
lines drop
tomorrow.
Yep.
So
that sounds good.
That'll be good. Yeah, 5-0 this week, 4-1. Good. I take it.
Even 3-2. Get us back to even.
Even 3-2 would get us back to even. I just hope that the consensus picks keep on going poorly. I gotta think, and we'll end on this note. If I'm thinking the way that the public likes to bet, I'm not sure Baltimore might be a consensus pick.
I feel like Detroit's going to be a consensus pick.
I think
undoubtedly.
Detroit might be a consensus pick. You're right. There's a lot of love on them, right? So, I wouldn't even be surprised with so much hype over Minnesota that they end up being a consensus pick.
Looking at this, I would plant my flag that Detroit would be a consensus pick. I undoubtedly think Los Angeles probably will. I think Arizona might be.
Maybe. I just think that there's a lot of people that are not scared off by those big lines, and they're going to jump on Baltimore thinking they're going to be coming in angry and blah, blah, blah. But that, that's just the way the public thinks, right?
You think a lot of people are going to be encouraged by Pittsburgh, or?
I don't know. They're a very public team, right? They're like Green Bay, right? It's almost a point or half a point, right? Just because they have so much love nationwide.
I could see a lot of people coming in on Miami just to fade whatever happened last week.
Yeah.
Like a mega bounce back.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if they still get any love.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yep. Let's
see where these lines end up, and then we'll finalize things later in the week.
Yep. And if you're happen to be watching online, put these picks out on Friday on Twitter at Cornfield Golfer. So we will have our 5 picks out there on Twitter. And if you want to get those, that'd be great. And with that, let's win them all, Matt.
Let's win them.
Thanks for listening to Chasing Circa Millions. We always welcome feedback, suggestions, and criticism. You can reach us at Cornfield Golf on Twitter. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, leave a comment, and cross your fingers for our picks.